What is going on, guys? It's Bucky and welcome to your ninth Premiere Pro tutorial. And in this tutorial I'm going to be going over one of the most important panels and probably the last main panel tutorial I'm going to do, and that's the tools panel. Now that's all of this crap right here, but first of all, it bugs me that it's over on the bottom right because on all of the other Adobe products, it's over here on the left. So what I like to do is I like to drag this over all the way until it's placed right here. And again, this is just wasted space, so I'm going to drag it just like this. And that's how I have my interface set up all the time. I just didn't want to drag it over there because, for everyone out there watching, it's probably over here and I didn't want to get you guys confused. But this is how I always have my interface set up. So that's how I'm going to stick with this tutorial. So now let's go ahead and go through all of these tools. I'll go ahead and tell you what each one of them does and also tell you the hotkey for them. Now the hotkey is if you're too lazy to go and click on the tool, you can just use a keyboard shortcut and see how the tools are switching back and forth. So the very first tool is the selection tool, and the hotkey for this is V. Now the selection tool is the tool that you're going to use 90% of the time. It's your main tool. You go ahead and use it to select clips. You can go ahead and move clips, and you can go ahead and actually, if you go to the end of a clip, for example, this title is 5 seconds long and you want to make it longer, just go ahead and go to the end of the clip, and then it's going to change into two little arrows with a bracket. Pull this out, so now your title is 10 seconds long instead. And this works the same with a video clip. Again, you can't make it any longer because, hey, you only filmed for like 11 minutes. You can't say, oh, what would happen if I saw the future? So you can make it shorter by doing that. But again, you can't make it longer than you originally filmed for because, it has no way of knowing what you filmed in the future. So pretty much the selection tool is for selecting clips, moving stuff around, and changing the length. The other tool we have right underneath it is a track select tool, and that's A. Now let me go ahead and show you guys an example of when this would be handy. Whenever you have multiple things on the same track, you can select them individually by using the selection tool, or if you want to select them all at once, you can go ahead and hit the track select tool, and now once you select it, it selects the entire track. So for example, if you had a title, a video, and an ending title, you can just go ahead and hit this real quick, and it's going to select everything on video 1 and also audio 1 since they're linked together. Now a ripple edit tool, and the hotkey for this is B. What this does is it here, let me go ahead and demonstrate this. So now we have a title that's about 10 seconds long, and I know you don't know how to cut, but now we have a video that's 10 seconds long. So if we put them side by side, just like this, using the selection tool, we see that, alright, this is 10 seconds long, this is 10 seconds long. Basically, our entire movie is 20 seconds long. So what the ripple edit tool is going to do is if we go ahead and select it or hit B, it's going to change a length of a clip, but the other clips on the track adjust accordingly. So pretty much they don't change any other clips in any other way. So in order to use this, say you wanted to change the length of this title from 10 seconds down to 5 seconds. So go ahead and put your current time indicator at 5 seconds, and now slide this right to 5 seconds, and now check it out. Your title is now 5 seconds long, but the rest of your movie, it doesn't change. So it pretty much changes the duration of one clip or one image, but it leaves everything else the same. However, this next tool under it, the rolling edit tool, is a little bit different. It pretty much does the exact opposite of the ripple edit tool. It keeps the total length of your entire movie, but it changes both of these durations. For example, whenever we slid this, it didn't change this one at all? Well, check it out now. Now whenever we slide this, for instance, we want to make this title 15 seconds long, it's going to go ahead and bump that video so it shortens this. So pretty much here's what I'm saying. Whenever you use the ripple edit tool, it doesn't mess with the other clips at all. It doesn't alter 36. Whenever you're using the rolling, it does change the clips. It does alter other clips. So again, I really don't like to use those tools because I really just like to do it with the selection tool and I really only use the selection tool and the cut tool, to be honest, because everything else is kind of advanced and it's really easy to see whenever you use these two basic tools. So anyways, aside from that, I can go ahead and talk about another tool now, and that's the rate stretch tool, and that's this thing right here. What the rate stretch tool does is it pretty much takes a clip, and let me go ahead and hide this temporarily so we're only looking at video 1. It takes a clip and it pretty much changes the, I want to say, changes the speed of it. So you see how this clip starts out with me looking down, and it kind of ends with me with my eyes closed. Well, that total length of time that that takes to happen is 10 seconds. However, with the rate stretch tool, we can do it in 20 seconds, and now that entire motion is going to go twice as slow. So it's pretty much, if we play it now, everything's going to be in slow motion, and I'm like talking like this. However, if we take that entire clip and make it only half the time, now everything is going to be super speed. I'm going to be talking like this, like a regular fast forward. So that's what that does. It pretty much, unlike, just the selection tool, whenever you're taking a piece off the end, or, you want to start at a different time, it slows the clip down or speeds the clip up. Now, the last tool I want to talk to you guys about, well, not the last tool, but the last really important one, is the razor tool. It's probably my second most used tool after the selection tool. What it pretty much does is it takes a clip and it splits it in two. So, for example, I want to take this clip and I want to add a title in between. So I would go ahead and get rid of my title first, and I would split this in two with a razor tool, and with a selection tool, I would move it apart, add my title in between, and now move it back together. So pretty much the movie stops, and then you can see the title, and it picks up right where it leaves off. So that's what the razor tool does, and since the hotkey is C, I call it the cut tool, but it really isn't called the cut tool. But if I call it that, don't hate. So that's what that does, and these other tools, I'm really not a big fan of them, but I guess since you guys are probably going to yell at me if I don't cover them, I'll tell you guys about the slip and the slide tool. I never use the slip and the slide tool because I absolutely hate them, but the slip tool, it pretty much changes the duration whenever you have 3 clips in a row. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm not even going to talk about them because they're really advanced kind of technique for editing, and we're just here to cover the basics. But whenever you have 3 clips in a row, then these things do some really weird things. Now the pen tool, let's just go ahead and skip down to this. The pen tool lets you add keyframes. For example, before when I told you guys that you can change the opacity by selecting a clip and going under here and making keyframes with this, or you can go ahead and just change it right here and it add a keyframe. Well, you can also add it right on the timeline by using the pen tool. Say you wanted to add a keyframe right here, and maybe right here, and right here. Then you can go ahead in your effects controls and switch from keyframe to keyframe, and maybe fade this one out, and fade this one out too, and now you have a really weird looking clip. So it's pretty much all the pen tool is an alternative way to make keyframes. That's it. Now the rest of these tools are really simple, so if you guys feel like you're getting overwhelmed, then trust me, I'm about to dumb things down a whole lot. All the hand tool does is it's basically the same as this thing right here. You can go ahead and drag on your timeline and move it around. Really simple, really boring. I never use it. I just go ahead and use this all the time. Now the zoom tool is even more simple. Say you're zoomed out and you're like, alright, I want to work on this piece specifically. Just go ahead and maximize over there. Ugh, I had to hiccup. And let go, and there you go. It just zooms in. Say, alright, I want to work on these 2 keyframes. Zoom in, and there you go. So again, I like to use this zoom tool instead. So basically there are 3 different ways you can zoom. On this thing right here, which I never use because it's annoying, this little bar at the bottom, which I use 100% of the time, or this tool, which I guess if you like using the tools, there you go. So that's basically all I have to cover on the tools. Again, slip and slide are really some weird editing techniques, and you're never really going to use them unless you're like making a full motion picture movie. But for now, we're just covering the basics, so don't really worry about that. So thank you guys for watching this tutorial, and in the next tutorial, I'm probably just going to go over the rest of these panels real quick because yes, they're useful, but we really don't need to concentrate on them as much as, to go over every single thing like we did with the effects controls or the tools. So the rest of the panels are probably just going to take one tutorial, and then we're going to get to the really cool stuff and showing you some really cool tricks. So again, you started out as a noob and hopefully you got a better understanding of Premiere Pro right now. So in the upcoming tutorials, I'm going to take you to an intermediate Premiere Pro user to a total professional. So that's what you have to look forward to. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys then.